Structure and delivery. Those are the two often underutilized aspects in songwriting that Jawbreaker used to enhance a fun, simple, catchy track into the absolute highlight of their career. Because in terms of what this song, Want, from their debut album Unfun, is about, the idea of wanting to be with somebody is hardly new territory. On and on that list goes. And for a lot of them, the lyrics could have been anything. It's the instrumentals, performances, or style that carries a song, and does so effectively. I mean, I Want You Back is still one of the greatest songs of all time. With Jawbreaker, they could have easily leaned on that as well. Want starts with an instrumental version of the chorus that prominently displays a driving, bouncy bass line that's up there with my favorites, and it's well paired with the drum beat filled with doubles at the bass drum and on the hi-hat to match the frequency of the bass notes, with the guitar ringing throughout the room once in a while over that. It's the kind of track where, before the full song is organized and the lyrics are added, it's already a success. Thankfully though, they didn't end the song 30 seconds in, so when it properly switches to the verse and Blake Schwarzenbach starts singing, that's when some of the song's cleverness becomes more apparent. And that's because, so beyond just wanting to be with somebody, the song is specifically about a person not being upfront and straightforward with their feelings, and instead, in the past always opting to get that information around in other ways. Used to let rumors do my work, they got around real well. Whether it's out of shyness or whatever, that's the way they've always done it. 3 words keep running around my mind, but my tongue is hard to find. Keeping stuff locked in like that just ends up hurting, so the character plans to just say whatever they feel this time, and the proper chorus is when that's going to happen. The interesting piece of Want's structure here is that it slightly, but very effectively, took a more traditional song structure and adjusted it to tease and delay that chorus and confession. Generally, that's a section that hooks people into the song, so bands don't waste any time getting there. But here the chorus is essentially the climax of a small character arc, so it doesn't show up until over halfway through the track. That extra verse beforehand is needed to explain more of that narrator's initial perspective and give time building up confidence before he says what he's been holding in. Wouldn't be quite as effective if he said it within the first 25 seconds. And that way the song teases the chorus earlier also acts as toying with the character's confidence. Because when that pre-chorus shows up after the initial verse, it's a very clear transition and build-up that signals the confession as the song itself opens up with slower, separate, well-defined accented notes paired with Blake shouting the line, "Let it all out." But then it just psychs you out. The track quickly closes back up with its tight, scratchy guitar riff and goes straight back for another verse. It's as if the narrator himself was thinking he was ready to say it at that moment before chickening out and needing just a little more time to get ready. So they go back for another verse, repeat the pre-chorus, and then they finally say it. That moment is also where the delivery is used uniquely. The I sounds at the start. Could have easily just been Blake thinking, man, I got a lot of space to fill in this chorus, so I guess I'll just stretch this line out as much as I can and make it sound cool. This bad boy can fit so many syllables in it. But regardless, it also easily works as mimicking anxious stuttering. This is the first time the narrator is being open to anybody, so he's naturally nervous and falling all over his words. Having that be present in the way the lyrics are uttered, rather than just the words themselves, adds that little extra layer of personality. And obviously there are plenty of ways that singers have kept personality in their vocals, but something along these lines is very rare. Psycho Killer by Talking Heads does a kind of similar thing with the fuzz, but I'm not as clear on the purpose of it. The only other example that quickly comes to mind is The Who's My Generation. Stutters were scattered all throughout that song after someone suggested to Roger Daltrey that he does that to illustrate just how pissed off he is. And it's something that was effective in ways they didn't even plan, like when he makes you think he's gonna swear. And that's fun. There can be happy accents like that in songs, and maybe Jawbreaker's case is another one. We'll never know. They aren't answering my calls. But regardless, Want is still a different side of the same coin as My Generation, as they're both great songs that temporarily utilize untraditional vocals to display different emotions. And with Jawbreaker, what they also utilize is the eventual absence of that stuttering. In the song's outro, and only in the outro, he's able to repeatedly say, "I want you," without tripping over his words. He's completely erased the hesitation that was plaguing him at the start of the song, and can end the track better for it. And yeah, this isn't some crazy complex character arc that's gonna light the world on fire, but just the fact that they could express it so well and sell that perspective in ways most bands wouldn't ever think to do, much less on the very first song on their very first album, that's just pretty darn cool. And messing with Want's structure and delivery Jawbreaker didn't quite follow the rule of show don't tell because the lyrics are still quite direct, but they managed to balance those two aspects about as well as you could in a purely audio medium. Put those efforts in an already tight, energetic punk track that doesn't waste a millisecond of its 3.5 minute long runtime, backed by an absurdly great rhythm section that specifically has a bass line you'll never forget. And I think that's a perfect song.